Alright guys, setting up for top grinding. I got the top grinding fixture on here. I know you can't see the cone, but it's on there. These side grinding fixtures, this hole right here, there should be a 1/4 20 bolt in here to act as a steady rest, and you adjust it out. I don't use this thing that much. You adjust it out where you put a straight edge across this till it just barely touches the bottom of that straight edge, right? You just adjust it up, lock nut, there you go, right? That's important when you're side grinding because you're putting a lot of pressure down on that saw blade when you're side grinding, and it'll deflect, and you'll think you got it right, but you don't, okay? So at this point, let's set this up. I'm gonna have to take you off the tripod and show you a few things. And we're gonna set this up like the manual says set it up. I don't really, things have changed since these grinders was built. So things are a little different now. But we're gonna set it up according to foley, and then I'll explain how I do it. Okay, so first off, this head has got to go, I'm gonna put that blade on there facing that direction, okay? So this head's got to go 90, and then we gotta come back 1.5 degrees, right? And once I get it all set up, I'll show you. And on the 367, man, you're not gonna have to use this because it's all built into the machine. You just gotta learn how to fiddle with it, right? And then once you get that done, we're gonna set our saw blade on here. Wait a minute. Teeth pointing that direction, right? And just for clarity's sake, let's use the one I've already got here, okay? And all we want to do is, if you got your dead rest under there, you just want it to get down, you know, about where that color changes, about right in here, right? And then lock it down. Now on the 367, you just move this thing in and out, if I remember right. Now, what I generally do, don't forget about your 1.5 back there, is I'll line this tooth up till it's as straight as I can get it, right? Then lock this cone down really hard. And then I'm gonna come in here with my stop finger, right? Right on the tooth I'm gonna grind. And like I said, don't worry, I'm gonna take you off there and show you the setup the way I got it, okay? I hate messing with these stop fingers. All right, we got our stop finger set up. Well, almost. There we go, right there. I got that tooth sitting about as close as I can to perfectly straight, right? So 1.5 degree on the head. They also say 1.5 degree on this. Now, this thing, I know it's dirty. Right here is a dial, right? And what you do is you unloosen this nut. This screw here moves that head up and down till you get 1.5 degree. Tighten it back down. At that point, you're ready to go. So now, let me put you back up here and hope it don't fall off. It fell off a while ago. Then, you're gonna take your grinding head and you're gonna go way over there, right? You don't want to be hitting this tooth. I think I can get it without having to do a whole bunch more adjusting. Right there. Then bring your head down. Right? I'll get it there. Like I said, this is just explaining, so you understand. Okay? Once you get her down there, and this is a blade that don't have a tip in it, you know, of course. You're just gonna touch it and then turn the grinder on and commence to grinding that tooth in. But you want this to go as far past that tooth as you can to use all the wheel, as long as you don't hit the following tooth, right? And then you're just gonna grind it. A little at a time, 1 or 2 thousandths. You don't want to go heavy on this, man. It'll deflect and distort it. You just want to just barely touch it. Now, a lot of times you'll be hitting the metal back here. The only way to get around that, man, is just keep pushing that head over that way. But that's one of the flaws with the way this side grinding works on this machine. It doesn't hurt anything. It just gums up your wheel. And it looks bad for the customer. So keep that in mind. I'll tell you what, let's do it real quick. Hear it? Just barely. All right, now see, I got this set up exactly how Foley says do it. It's wrong. That's wrong. I need another 1/2 degree, you know, tilting this fixture up before it's right. Now, with that being said, what I've always done with these, for the manual stuff, right, is what I'll do, I'll see if I can't get you a picture of that one I just touched. There you go. See how it's hitting at the top and not the bottom? Because this is off. But that's the way Foley says put it up. Set it up, right? Our head is right. We just don't have the right clearance this way. And that changes with every blade. So what I like to do, if I'm doing the manual stuff, what I like to do is I'll just go in and just barely touch that tooth. And I'll continuously adjust this thing in until I get that thing matching. But you don't want to take off more than like 1/1000th. So if you touch this and it's grinding wrong, go to the next one. Readjust it, come back in, barely touch it. Because if you go a couple thousandths, man, the blade will chatter. Okay? Well, more than 3. But anyway, that's how I like to do it. Also, you're going to need this little tool right here. This thing. This is a side dial indicator, right? And as you're grinding, you'll set it down there, right? You'll find an old tooth, take it, set it on there, find out what it is you got, right? And as you grind that other tooth down, you're gonna keep grinding it till it's in the same spot, right? Now, them little things ain't cheap. You can find them on eBay and a bunch of other places. I don't suggest you buy them used. You buy one used, man, you're gonna have to do a lot of work to it to actually make it right. Because a lot of times these little feet on the bottom of them, people will slide them around on stuff and they get all distorted. So you want to get you one that you know's right or had the capability of making it all flat, right? And then zero this thing out. I'm not going into all that. I'm about losing my train of thought. It's 11:30. But yeah, I think I explained it now. The bad thing about doing this on these manuals, is once you get done with this side, you got to take and flip that blade over, bring that stop finger up on this side of the machine, set it up here, and then reset this whole scenario up. And it's a pain in the butt. You know, I mean, if you got like 4 or 5 blades, you know, yeah, do all 4 or 5 on this side, then move it over here, and do them, you know, or a bunch of tips on one blade. It's not very efficient time-wise. I'm hoping this is helping y'all out, you know. The 367's got the same setup, only this is all built into the machine. You know, that knob, everything's there, the dial, it's exactly the same thing. It just looks different. Okay? Okay. That about wraps that 357 up. Unless, you know, I did something you didn't understand, or you just, you know, didn't quite understand it, or you got more questions about something, leave a comment, you know, and I'll go back and look at it, or you know, try to answer your question. But here's one thing to remember. Yeah, I'm getting tired. Let's see. The rule of thumb when dealing with saw blades is number 1, face. Number 2, if you put tips on it, side grind it. Number 3, then top grind it. Well, that's right if you got automatic machines. If you're dealing with these old manuals, that's wrong. What you want to do first, face grind. Second, top grind. Third, side grind. And here's why. It's, you know, ready to be face, side, top, all that stuff. It just wasn't alternate top bevel. It was a triple chip, so just didn't feel like explaining all that. But if you look down, you see how tall these tips are, because this saw blade's been ground so much. Now, I can, you know, face it on this manuals, and I can get that, you know, the thickness of that tooth pretty close to right. I mean, pretty darn close. But if I'm trying to side grind that before I top grind it, there's no way I know where the top of that tooth is supposed to be. So it's just hit and miss. Unless you want to keep touching off and, you know, grind until you know it's touching right. So what I like to do, face, top grind these down so I know all of it's in the same place. Then when I side grind it, I know exactly where that tooth is supposed to be with that side dial indicator, right? That's just a word of advice. You do what you want to, take it with a grain of salt. But I'm telling you, that's the best way to do on these manuals, okay? Now, with that being said, I uncovered this other one over here. I just don't like using them manuals for side grind anymore. Now, this is an old foley. I can't remember the number. It's dirty as crap. That's the reason I got to clean this shop. I mean, you wouldn't believe. Yeah. Look at all the, you know, where I've been cutting knives. But this is an old foley manual single side grinder, right? But setting this thing up is 10 times easier than those other ones. Because this table, it has a gauge over here. Again, dirty as crap, right? But you set this thing up, you lock this table down. Usually, you know, I mean, I'll generally keep this one about a little over 1.5. because I'd rather have the bottom of that tooth and not the top of it wider or smaller. Just as long as that bottom part of the tooth, hang on, this is gonna take a minute. This is spur of the moment stuff. As long as this part of the tooth is always smaller than the next one back, you know it's not rubbing. But as you sharpen it, it's going to come into play. But generally, that works out well, right? Now, on, that's radial, right? No, that's tangential clearance. Radial clearance, right? Again, tired. Radial clearance is this part, right? Now, I know forced blades for a fact are 1 degree, okay? So no matter what you do there, it's not going to be touching because rubbing because you're grinding that relief in. So this thing is set up for a 1 degree radial clearance and about 1 3/4 tangential clearance, right? Yeah, like I said, tired. But all you do with this thing is there's a pin right here. This adjusts, you know, to keep that blade level. And all you do is just push it back and forth like that, right? Then when you get done, there's a knob back here. You unloosen, you just flip the head that way, turn the blade over, line the tooth up straight, right? None of that crap that we just done over here. This is my favorite way to side grind. I use this thing for everything except for stuff it won't fit on it. This one is set up exactly like that one over there, but it's doing both sides of the blade at the same time. It's really easy to readjust if something's wrong. That stop finger back there for your radial clearance, not so easy. But the tangential clearance is just set with these knobs. Just loosen this up, man, and move that thing this way or that way. Takes care of that tangential clearance. Not a problem. And it's just like, pat, hit it on automatic, zoom. She's done. You know, I mean, it ain't zoom, it's barely moving, but you're doing 2 sides at one time instead of 1 side and 1 side, okay? All right. I think I've imparted about all the information I can, other than if you want to put coolant on one of them machines, get you a mist coolant, little tank. You know, that's the best way. Some of these are flood coolant, but here's a little charcoal, you know, mist coolant container that I've got on this other grinder. That stuff works great. Just get ready, it's gonna create a mess. There will be crap all over the place. I've tried it. I got tired of cleaning it, so I just do it all dry. I just don't take off as much, right? Usually side grinding on these little machines, couple of thousands, that's about it. That big flood coolant machine, crap, man, I'll hit her with 10 thousandths. Crank that little end feet down where it's just barely moving, just walk off and let it do its thing. You know, but, you know, that's many years before I could afford to do that. Okay, if you got any more questions on these 357s, hey, you know what to do. There's a comment box down in the bottom, right under the video you're watching. Type something in there and hit that little arrow, and I can answer you back. With that being said, man, leave some comments on this little 3-video series on that 357. Do you think I covered everything all right? Or do I just sound like a complete and total dummy? Okay? If you like this stuff, subscribe, leave comments, hit the like button. If you want to know more about this stuff and want to keep up with the channel, hit the bell. Or just check back from time to time. With that being said, man, it's almost midnight. I think I'm going to get off here, take a shower, maybe drink a couple of cold snaps, grab me a munchie. I'm headed to La La Land. I hope everything's going great in your world. Life is treating you right. Your family is all home and safe. I hope y'all have a great and perfect and Merry Christmas. I hope everybody gets what they want. Again, like, share, subscribe. We will see you on the next one. I don't know what I'm going to do this next weekend because it's Christmas weekend, but got to spend some time with the family. They're feeling neglected. We'll see y'all in the next one.